Sima Zhao learned that Zhuge Dan had joined forces with the Wu reinforcements and was preparing for a decisive battle. He summoned Pei Xiu and Zhong Hui to discuss a strategy. Zhong Hui pointed out that the Wu army had marched a long distance for its own benefit. If their greed could be exploited, they would be easy to defeat. Sima Zhao agreed. He ordered Shi Bao and Zhou Tai to lie in ambush near Shouchun city, while Wang Ji and Chen Qian prepared elite troops. Cheng Chui was instructed to stage a retreat to lure the enemy forward. Meanwhile, large numbers of cattle, horses, donkeys, mules, and valuable supplies were deliberately scattered across the battlefield to tempt the Wu soldiers. When the battle began, Zhuge Dan led Zhu Yi, Wen Qin, and the allied forces in pursuit. Seeing the Wei army seemingly collapse, they pressed forward without caution. Soon the Wu soldiers abandoned formation to seize the livestock and treasure. At that moment, Wei ambushes sprang from every direction. Shi Bao and Zhou Tai attacked from both flanks, while Wang Ji and Chen Qian struck from the rear. Caught completely off guard, Zhuge Dan suffered a crushing defeat and barely escaped back into Shouchun, where he shut the gates and prepared for a siege. Sima Zhao immediately surrounded the city on all sides. Zhong Hui then proposed another plan. He argued that surrounding the city completely would only encourage desperate resistance, while Wu reinforcements might attack from outside. Instead, they should intentionally leave the south gate open, giving the defenders hope of escape. Once they fled, the Wei army could destroy them outside the city. He also noted that the Wu forces had limited supplies. If the siege continued long enough, they would collapse without another battle. Delighted by the advice, Sima Zhao praised Zhong Hui as another Zhongliang and ordered the guards withdrawn from the south gate. Meanwhile, the Wu relief army was stationed at Anfeng. Sun Chen was furious that Shouchun had not been rescued. He harshly blamed Zhu Yi and threatened to execute him if he failed again. Back at camp, Yu Quan suggested taking advantage of the undefended south gate. A force could enter Shouchun to reinforce the city while Zhu Yi attacked from outside, trapping the Wei army between two fronts. The plan was accepted. Quan Duan, Quan Yi, Wen Qin, and others led 10,000 Wu soldiers through the south gate into the city. The nearby Wei troops dared not interfere without Sima Zhao's orders, and simply reported the situation. Sima Zhao immediately understood the enemy's plan. He ordered Wang Ji and Chen Qian to prepare ambushes. As Zhu Yi advanced to support the city, the hidden Wei forces suddenly struck from behind. The Wu army was routed once again. When Zhu Yi returned, Sun Chen flew into a rage and had him executed on the spot. He also warned the Quan family that they need not return if they failed again. Afterward, Sun Chen abandoned the campaign entirely and withdrew to Jianya. Seeing that outside support had vanished, Zhong Hui advised tightening the siege. At this point, Quan Yi realized there was no hope of breaking out and surrendered to Sima Zhao. Rather than punish him, Sima Zhao appointed him as an assistant general. Grateful for the mercy, Quan Yi secretly wrote to his father Quan Duan and his uncle Quan Yi Quan Xia, urging them to surrender. The letter was shot into the city, and both men soon opened the gates with several thousand followers and defected. Morale inside Shouchun collapsed further. Advisors Jiang Ban and Jiao Yi warned Zhuge Dan that supplies were running out and urged him to fight while he still had troops. Instead, Zhuge Dan became suspicious, accused them of treachery, and threatened execution if they mentioned another sortie. Realizing the cause was lost, both men climbed over the city wall that night and surrendered to Wei. Sima Zhao welcomed them warmly, leaving no one inside the city willing to suggest another breakout. As winter arrived, the Wei army built earthen walls and dikes around Shouchun, sealing off the Huai River to trap the defenders completely. Zhuge Dan had hoped that flooding would destroy the fortifications and create an opportunity to escape. Instead, little rain fell throughout autumn and winter, and the river never overflowed. Food supplies dwindled rapidly, and famine spread through the city. Seeing the crisis, Wen Qin advised dismissing the northern troops to conserve provisions. Once again, Zhuge Dan suspected betrayal and had Wen Qin executed. Wen Qin's sons, Wen Yang and Wen Hu, were devastated. After killing dozens of guards, they escaped over the walls and surrendered to Wei. Sima Zhao initially wanted revenge against Wen Yang for his earlier exploits, but Zhong Hui persuaded him otherwise. The crimes belong to Wen Qin, not his sons. If we kill men who surrender with nowhere else to go, those still inside the city will only resist more desperately. Convinced, Sima Zhao pardoned both brothers, appointed them as assistant generals, granted them noble titles, and rewarded them with fine robes and horses. The brothers then rode around the city shouting that they had been treated generously and urging everyone to surrender. The defenders began losing heart, seeing that even former enemies of the Sima family could be welcomed. Furious, Zhuge Dan personally patrolled the walls each day and severely punished anyone suspected of disloyalty. Zhong Hui judged that morale had finally collapsed and urged a full-scale assault. Sima Zhao ordered attacks from every direction. The defending officer Zheng Xian secretly opened the north gate, allowing the Wei army to pour into the city. Realizing everything was lost, Zhuge Dan fled with only a few hundred guards, but near the drawbridge he encountered the Wei general Hu Zun and was cut down. His remaining followers were all captured. Meanwhile, as Wang Ji entered through the west gate, he encountered the Wu general Yu Quan. Wang Ji urged him to surrender, but Yu Quan replied, "I was sent here to rescue this city. Since I have failed, I will never surrender to another master." Throwing aside his helmet, he fought fiercely until exhausted, whereupon he was overwhelmed and killed by the Wei soldiers, dying faithfully in service to Wu. After capturing Shouchun, Sima Zhao ordered the execution of Zhuge Dan's entire family and exterminated his clan. Several hundred soldiers who had remained loyal to Zhuge Dan were then brought before him. He asked whether they would surrender. In unison they replied, "We chose to live and die with Lord Zhuge. We will never surrender." Enraged, Sima Zhao ordered them taken outside one by one, promising mercy to anyone who yielded. Not a single man gave in. Although he executed them all, Sima Zhao could not help admiring their loyalty and ordered honorable burials for them. Later, Pei Xiu proposed burying all the surrendered Wu soldiers alive to prevent future trouble. Zhong Hui objected. In ancient warfare, only the ringleaders should be punished. Slaughtering innocent prisoners destroys righteousness. If we send them home instead, Wei's generosity will become known throughout the land. Sima Zhao agreed and released all the Wu prisoners. Only Tangzi chose to remain, fearing punishment if he returned to Wu. He surrendered to Wei and was later entrusted with important duties. Thus, the Huainan rebellion finally came to an end. As Sima Zhao prepared to return to Luoyang, urgent news arrived. Jiang Wei had taken advantage of the Wei army's southern campaign to capture Chongqing and cut the Wei supply route. Shocked, Sima Zhao immediately began planning a relief expedition. This was the first year of the Jingyao era in Shuhan. Jiang Wei strengthened his forces in Hanzhong and placed great trust in the capable generals Jiang Shu and Fu Qian. When he learned that Zhuge Dan had risen against Sima Zhao, that Eastern Wu had sent reinforcements, and that both the Wei Emperor and Sima Zhao had personally marched south, he declared, "This is the perfect chance to launch another northern expedition." He immediately requested permission from Lu Shan to invade Wei once again. However, the court official Qiaozhou was deeply concerned. He believed the Shu court had become obsessed with luxury. Lu Shan neglected state affairs while favoring the eunuch Huang Hao, and Jiang Wei's endless campaigns had exhausted both the people and the army. If Shu continued these costly wars, its downfall would not be far away. Qiaozhou therefore wrote his famous treatise on rival states and presented it to Jiang Wei. The essay argued that true victory by the weak over the strong depends not only on courage, but also on patience and proper timing. King Wen of Zhou and King Gojian of Yu succeeded because they strengthened their nations, cared for their people, and struck only when the enemy grew complacent. The present Three Kingdoms situation was entirely different from the chaos at the end of the Qin dynasty. If Shu ignored its limited strength and continued endless warfare, even brilliant strategy could not prevent defeat. Jiang Wei angrily dismissed the essay as the empty words of a scholar and threw it to the ground. He remained determined to invade Wei. Fu Qian then suggested attacking Chongqing first, where large Wei grain reserves were stored. By advancing through Luo Valley, crossing Shan Ridge, burning the granaries, and then advancing into the Qin region, Shu would greatly improve its chances. Jiang Wei enthusiastically agreed, and immediately marched north through Luo Valley. Chongqing was defended by Sima Wang, a cousin of Sima Zhao. The city held abundant supplies but only a small garrison. When Shu forces approached, Sima Wang led Wang Zhen and Li Ping out to meet them. Before battle, Jiang Wei loudly condemned Sima Zhao for controlling the emperor and urged Sima Wang to surrender. Sima Wang instead denounced Shu's repeated invasions and ordered them to withdraw. As soon as the speeches ended, Wang Zhen charged first. Fu Qian engaged him and deliberately exposed an opening after only a few exchanges. Eager for victory, Wang Zhen pursued recklessly and was captured alive. Li Ping rushed in to rescue him. Fu Qian slowed deliberately until Li Ping came within range. He suddenly threw Wang Zhen to the ground and struck Li Ping in the face with a concealed iron mace, killing him instantly. Wang Zhen was then speared to death by the Shu soldiers. Jiang Wei seized the momentum and launched a fierce assault. Unable to hold the field, Sima Wang retreated into Chongqing and shut the gates. The next morning, Shu forces launched another massive attack. Fire arrows and incendiary weapons set buildings ablaze, while huge piles of firewood were ignited beneath the walls. Flames soared into the sky, and panic spread throughout the city. Just as Chongqing seemed about to fall, clouds of dust appeared behind the Shu army as Wei reinforcements arrived. Jiang Wei immediately turned to meet them. A young general in his 20s rode out confidently and introduced himself as General Deng. Jiang Wei assumed this must be the famous Deng Ai. The two fought for dozens of rounds without either gaining the advantage. Unable to break through, Jiang Wei pretended to retreat into the hills before suddenly turning to fire an arrow. The young general anticipated the trick, ducked beneath the shot, and charged again. Jiang Wei trapped his spear, forcing the youth to abandon his weapon and retreat. As Jiang Wei prepared to pursue, another Wei general rode forward shouting, "Do not chase my son. Deng Ai is here." Only then did Jiang Wei realize that his opponent had been Deng Zhong, the son of Deng Ai. Impressed by both father and son, Jiang Wei chose not to continue the fight after days of hard campaigning, and both sides withdrew. Deng Ai assigned Deng Zhong to help defend Chongqing, while sending word to Sima Wang to remain on the defensive until reinforcements from Guanzhong arrived. Once the Shu army exhausted its supplies, they could be attacked from multiple directions. At the same time, he sent an urgent request for assistance to Sima Zhao. Over the following days, Jiang Wei repeatedly challenged Deng Ai to battle. Each time Deng Ai appeared willing, yet never left his camp. Sometimes he claimed illness. Other times he simply kept his banners lowered, leaving Jiang Wei waiting outside all day. This happened 5 or 6 times. Fu Qian sensed something was wrong, and warned Jiang Wei that the Wei army was clearly buying time. Jiang Wei understood the strategy. Deng Ai was delaying until reinforcements from Guanzhong arrived, allowing Wei to attack from both front and rear. He therefore planned to contact Eastern Wu and ask Sun Chen to launch another offensive to divide the Wei forces. At that moment, however, scouts arrived with shocking news. Zhuge Dan had been defeated and killed. Shouchun had fallen. The Wu relief army had either surrendered or withdrawn, and Sima Zhao had already returned to Luoyang, and would soon lead a massive army to relieve Chongqing. Jiang Wei realized the opportunity for his northern expedition had completely vanished. With a heavy sigh, he lamented, "Once again, this northern expedition has come to nothing." He ordered the army to withdraw and return to Hanzhong. Summary. This chapter follows 2 major storylines. The first centers on Sima Zhao's suppression of Zhuge Dan's rebellion. By following Zhong Hui's clever strategies, he exploited the greed of the Wu reinforcements, crushed the allied army, gradually destroyed morale inside Shouchun, and ultimately captured the city, bringing the Huainan rebellion to a complete end. The second focuses on Jiang Wei's latest northern expedition. Taking advantage of the Wei army's southern campaign, he nearly captured Chongqing and came close to overwhelming Sima Wang's defenses. However, the timely arrival of Deng Ai and his son Deng Zhong, combined with Deng Ai's patient defensive strategy, stalled the Shu offensive until Wei reinforcements could arrive, forcing Jiang Wei to abandon the campaign. Historical notes. 1. The novel describes the Wei army scattering cattle, horses, donkeys, mules, and valuable supplies across the battlefield to tempt the Wu soldiers into looting, causing them to fall into an ambush. This entire episode does not appear in the records of the Three Kingdoms. 2. The novel also depicts Fu Qian capturing Wang Zhen alive, killing Li Peng with a concealed iron mace, and setting Chongqing ablaze. None of these events are recorded in the historical sources. In particular, Wang Zhen and Li Peng are largely fictional characters created by the novel. 3. This chapter marks Deng Zhong's first major appearance in the novel. It portrays him fighting Jiang Wei for dozens of rounds before Deng Ai arrives and shouts, "Do not chase my son." Historically, Deng Zhong was indeed Deng Ai's son, but no such duel ever took place.